There's a strange kind of strength in silence, not the kind that runs from vulnerability, but the kind that knows when not to speak. In a world obsessed with open communication, a Stoic man moves differently. He doesn't hide out of fear. He hides out of principle. And in relationships, that principle matters more than ever. Because a man who shares everything gives up something crucial, his center. So here are 10 things a Stoic man should hide from a woman, not to deceive her, but to protect his purpose, his peace, and the quiet power that makes him magnetic, his inner storms. Every man has moments of doubt, fear, rage, or despair. But dumping that chaos onto a woman isn't strength, it's self-abandonment. A Stoic man processes first. He faces the storm within before he speaks of it. That doesn't mean he never shares. It means he doesn't make her the container for his weakness. He becomes that container himself. Why? Because peace is more attractive than panic. And a man who can hold his own suffering without bleeding it all over her commands respect. His need for validation. If you tell her how badly you want her to approve of you, she won't respect you. She might pity you. She might mother you. But she won't desire you. Stoicism teaches that virtue is its own reward. You do not need applause to do what is right. You do not need her to tell you that you are enough. The moment you need it, you've already handed over your self-respect. So hide that need, not because it's evil, but because it's yours to master. His grand future plans. She doesn't need to hear about the empire you're building. She needs to feel the discipline in your presence. A Stoic man doesn't make promises with his mouth. He lets his consistency speak for him. Announcing your dreams too early can actually kill them. Not because she'll sabotage them, but because you will start chasing the feeling of praise instead of the reality of progress. So hide your ambitions until they're breathing, until they walk beside you like shadows. Then let her watch. His desire to impress you don't need to be impressive. You need to be solid. When you try to win her admiration with words, wealth, or wit, you become a performer. But when you move through the world with quiet certainty, you become unforgettable. The Stoics weren't showmen. They were foundations. If she can't see your value through your actions, she's not meant to. So hide the part of you that wants to be liked. It's a child's need, not a man's mission. His strategic intentions. Sometimes you know exactly what you're doing. You pull back. You let silence do the talking. You test the dynamic without saying a word. You are not cold. You are composed. And that composition is misunderstood by people who mistake transparency for honesty. There is a difference between being true and being exposed. A Stoic man can be sincere and still maintain mystery. He doesn't reveal his whole playbook, not to manipulate, but to protect the sanctity of his inner world. His deepest wounds. Not every scar is a conversation. Sometimes speaking about your pain gives it more power than it deserves. This isn't about emotional repression. It's about emotional sovereignty. A Stoic man reflects, journals, meditates, seeks counsel from the wise, but he doesn't offload his soul onto someone just because she's there. You want to be known. That's human. But you don't want to turn your partner into your therapist. That's unfair to her and to you. So hide the wound until you've turned it into wisdom. Then you can share the lesson, not the bleeding. Is long-term dependence. She should add to your life, not become your life. If she senses that your happiness depends on her, the dynamic shifts. Love becomes duty. Romance becomes pressure. The Stoic man hides his existential needs from the relationship, not because he's disconnected, but because he's anchored. He knows that no woman, however beautiful or kind, can complete him. That's his job. That's his philosophy. His reactive emotions. She tests you. She pulls back. She challenges, flirts, criticizes, or withdraws. That's life. But the Stoic man doesn't react with pettiness, rage, or anxiety. He doesn't text out of fear. He doesn't lash out for attention. He doesn't break his frame. He feels everything and then chooses the right response. Not the emotional one, not the egoic one, the right one. He hides his knee-jerk impulses behind the gate of self-command. And that's what makes him rare. His insecurities about other men. The moment you ask, was he better than me? You've lost the plot. Jealousy is natural, but it's also corrosive when spoken without control. A Stoic man knows that comparison is a trap. He doesn't interrogate, accuse, or obsess over past lovers or rivals, because he's busy becoming someone he himself can respect. He doesn't need to be her best. He needs to be his own master. So hide the comparison, hide the envy, live above it. His fear of losing her. Here's the hard truth. If you're ruled by the fear of losing her, you already have. Stoicism teaches us to practice premeditatio malorum, to contemplate the worst, so we're never surprised. The Stoic man knows she could leave, she could change, she could grow tired, fall in love with someone else, or disappear into her own journey. But he doesn't beg fate, he accepts it. He hides the fear, not to pretend it doesn't exist, but to prove that it doesn't own him. And because of that, paradoxically, she stays. Because nothing is more attractive than a man who doesn't need you to stay. To summarize these lessons, hiding something doesn't always mean to lie about it. Sometimes it means to honor it, to protect your depth from being scattered, to keep a sacred fire from burning out too soon. The Stoic man doesn't reveal everything. He reveals what matters when it's time. So yes, hide these 10 things, not to deceive a woman, but to become the kind of man who doesn't need to be seen in order to be strong. Because true strength isn't loud, it's quiet, it's disciplined, and it never begs to be noticed.